Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Wilds War Cry. I am your host, Stephen Wilds. I guess I have to talk about Raw, huh? Okay, let's do the good stuff first. On TNA, we had a couple of really good matches. I want to especially point out Austin Aries versus Sonata. That was not only a good match. I didn't dig the storyline with Sonata at first, but now I'm really starting to get into it, and I think they could have some other really good matches, especially when you have two talented people and you kind of have this whole. Eventually, you might be able to bring the Great Muta back into it. I don't know what their plan is, but it could be really good. Let me just put it that way. The tag team triple threat match between the Wolves, Team 3D, and the Hardys, I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good opener. They need to bring it just a little bit more next time. The Hardys actually, to me, looked probably the weakest in the match, and if you didn't see it, I will go ahead and spoil it for you that Team 3D won, so they will decide the next match. I'm looking forward to seeing what they decide and how the rest of this series plays out, especially kind of the ending. I have a feeling 3D won't win, but you know, since they're going in the Hall of Fame, they might. I don't know, especially with stuff with Bully Ray, because whoever wins this tournament gets the belts, and I just don't see them putting the belts on Devon and Bully, but we'll see. NXT was pretty decent overall. It had a really great main event. It set up a lot of really neat stuff, and there were just a couple of moments in the match where, you know, I had to rewind it and rewatch it because it was so cool. So the main event was good, and it makes me, you know, really look forward to TakeOver. I have enjoyed both NXT pay-per-views so far, and so I'm hoping this one lives up to the other two. I would say that SmackDown was actually a better show than Raw this week. Now, there was a point in time that didn't necessarily surprise anyone, and it meant a little bit more, obviously, because Raw was better, but nope, SmackDown was just better this week, but again, that's not saying too much. So, Seth Rollins versus RVD was really good. I would think with them knowing that RVD was, you know, he's finishing up for a while, I thought they would have done more with that. I don't know why they didn't. But the match was good overall. I loved Bo Dallas cheating in the Swagger versus Rusev match and setting all that up. I don't know how they're going to approach this feud. It seems like they're kind of, I don't want to say wasting time, but it seems like they're taking their time to get to it, so we'll see what they actually do with it. I like The Miz. I like what they were doing with him and Sheamus, and you know, at least Sandal's getting work, right? After his cryptic tweets, who knows for how long, but I like Sandal. Sandal's a good wrestler. I wish they would do more with him, but maybe this, you know, he's at least getting on TV with this, and The Miz has been actually pretty funny as of late. The main event was okay on SmackDown. Actually, it was probably one of the weaker matches. However, even I had to rewind and make sure I really saw Big Show do a sunset flip. I don't actually know if you can call that a sunset flip, but that's what it was supposed to be, and I want to give him credit for doing that. Alright, well, kind of put it all. So let's talk about Raw. Raw was not necessarily horrible. There were a lot of descriptive words that were used to describe Raw this week from many different people that I don't think actually fit. What I think was wrong with Raw was that it was boring and it was lazy. It was lazy filler writing. None of the segments really stand out. And the segment that did stand out the most, which was the interaction with Stephanie McMahon, the Bellas, Paige, and AJ Lee. That segment actually was the most entertaining segment to me of the whole episode. But it was, you know, after all of those horrible segments of Brie lied or whatever, or I didn't tell, I don't even remember anymore. Those were horrible. The other segments on Raw just didn't do anything for me. I didn't understand the whole mess at the beginning with John Cena, and I'm not going to go into them, but there was a lot of like loopholes in booking, like how they were proceeding. This is one of those episodes that I'm really convinced that they had another episode written and then scrapped it hours before the show. Because, I don't know, it just felt like everything fell apart. I literally did not make any notes for this Raw. I usually make notes for everything, and I made no notes for this Raw. None. And that's because it was boring. The whole time I was sitting here trying to force myself to pay attention. I agree with the guy who had the sign in the front row. I would have rather been watching Nitro, and honestly, I just, every now and then I'll rewatch Raw. This is definitely an episode I will not be rewatching. The last match wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. It just, I don't know, it felt uninspired. And with the rest of the episode, with 2.5 hours, just feeling like it was, ugh. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the Divas match for the Total Divas build-up was pretty bad. Like, I always try to talk up the Divas. I think they don't get enough time and respect in a lot of cases, but Rosa Mendez can't really perform, and neither can Eva Marie, so that's already 2 problems you have, and it seems like they were focusing on the wrong Divas most of the match. I don't know. There was something going on here that just wasn't working, and I really hope they figure this out before next week. I know I'm not going to discuss the whole Michael Sam thing, because I do think it's just a publicity grab, and I don't think it's going to happen, so whatever. I also heard they're apparently supposed to have Jerry Springer on there on the next episode, and that could be amusing, but you're losing me. You are losing me. I will watch your stuff because I write about it and I review it, but you're losing my interest quickly. Might be time for a purge. Just go through and, I'm not going to say fire the writing staff. I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but switch it up. Do something. This is a good point to take chances. You've made a lot of fans happy this week by putting the Nitro episodes up. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch them yet this week, but I hear the Monday Night War episodes are really good. You seem to have a lot of stuff going for you, so don't mess it up with your main current product. Don't send people to your older stuff that they know is better. Switch some stuff up. Take a few risks. Do something we're not expecting. I was glad to hear that Jake the Snake Roberts is doing better, so, in case you didn't know, he apparently is doing better, and that is always good. So my question this week to everyone really is, what do you think WWE could do to make us forget that last episode? Because I think we're going to forget it anyway. We're just going to remember it as a black spot. So what could WWE do in this next week's Raw to make everyone just forget that last one happened? Also, I'm still not sure what they're doing with John Cena, so if you want to attempt to explain to me what it is they're doing with Cena, feel free. Leave that in the comments. Send it to me on Twitter. Put it on the WNS website. Whatever you feel like you need to do. But I will say that this has probably been WWE's worst piece of product in a while. Like, I was really enjoying the stuff up until then, so good job, I guess.